STEM Stories with Mr. Ewing. You know, nature has a lot of impact on our lives. Some good, some not so good. You know, Henry Ford once said that disaster causes innovation. He also said that most people spend more time and energy going around problems than actually trying to solve them. You know, and he said, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. And all these quotes have a lot to do with, actually sounds like a disaster's going on outside my door. But a lot of these sayings, or the way that Henry Ford looked at things, have a lot to do with what we're going to look at. And what we're going to do is look at nature and why it's always giving us problems, but it's problems that we can work together and actually use our innovative thinking to come up with some creative solutions. So problems that we need to address, because these are things that affect our lives daily. It might not affect our personal life, but it affects human lives all around the globe. And we need to address these things because we need to make life safer for everybody around us. So one of the biggest thing is nature has problems that it causes. It may not seem like problems, but these are problems that impact our homes. So let's look at some of those things. Hurricanes and cyclones. We hear these especially in the summertime and the late summer, early fall. Hurricanes and cyclones are actually the same thing. They just happen in different parts of the world, but they're devastating winds that can destroy homes, buildings, complete cities, complete towns. And another natural disaster that happens and we hear about a lot on the news are earthquakes. And these actually happen all over the world. Where they have the biggest impact are in areas where they may not have the financial stability to actually build homes that can withstand these areas. So when they do have earthquake disasters, hopefully a lot of the times the homes can actually be rebuilt, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. In other areas of the world, we have mudslides and floods. Floods are one of the things, especially in the United States, we hear about in the southern portions of our country. Mudslides we hear a lot about on the west coast of our country, especially in California along their coastline, but also up in the northwest in the Seattle area, we have a lot of mudslides. Actually, one area, the mudslides actually take out the train tracks quite frequently. Those areas that flood tend to be near rivers or river banks or other large bodies of water, and then we get a lot of rain. The rain cannot absorb into the soil quick enough, and areas flood, and our houses get flooded. And same thing with the mudslides tend to be when the water comes down so quickly that the earth just can't absorb it enough in time, and then the earth comes loose and slides. Another problem that we've had a lot recently are wildfires. Wildfires aren't caused out of the earth or because of the atmosphere, but because conditions get dry enough and then we get a spark. It might be lightning. A lot of times it's human impact, but a little bit takes hold, and the next thing, it has gotten so out of control that complete communities can actually be destroyed by wildfires. Volcanic eruptions. We saw just recently in the last year where there were some eruptions that were actually happening on one of the Hawaiian Islands, and the lava flow was just slowly creeping into residential areas and taking those houses down. A lot of times the lava flow, depending on where they are, just extends parts of the island, but this was in an area where there was a lot of homes, and a lot of the homes were actually destroyed. And especially with wildfires, we can actually try to compete against it with water and other types of firefighting equipment. But when a lava flow is coming, there's actually nothing that we can do that we've actually discovered. Maybe this is a problem that you work on solving. Another area that we tend not to think about so much are areas of extreme drought, which means they go through long periods of not having any rain. And then there's areas of the world that actually have monsoon seasons, which if you've ever been caught in a heavy downpour of rain, monsoons like 10 times, 100 times worse than that. I actually got caught in a monsoon going to India one time and had to stay in the airport for a couple days because there was no way to travel, because pretty much when the monsoons come in, basically everything floods and you're stuck. There was actually about an inch of water in the entire airport at the time in Mumbai. So I've actually seen what monsoons can do. And then we got out. Complete villages were just completely underwater. It's devastating, the effects of a monsoon. And droughts are the same thing. Areas of the world will go so dry that actually puts the land under the houses in danger as well. So we can't control nature, but we can control how we react to nature. And that's kind of what I'd like you to start thinking about, is thinking about the natural disasters that actually happen in the world. And as an innovator, what could we do to build homes better that would stand up against nature? And I'll leave you with one of my all-time favorite quotes. As we think about our natural disasters and what happened around the world and how it has impact in our homes and what we can do to do better, to build better homes at a better cost, to make it more affordable, especially in the areas of the world where they just can't afford to build quality homes. I'll leave you with Toshiko Mori said, innovation is the combination of creativity and imagination. So, how will you use innovation to change the way we live in the face of natural disasters? I want you to really think about this, and I want you to go out there and be the next generation of innovative thinkers that change our world for the better.